everyone. Welcome to All Things Gifted. All Things Gifted. All Things Gifted. I'm trying to find an opening. But this is episode 1 of All Things Gifted, where we kind of talk about the gifted journey. What is the gifted journey? What does it mean to be gifted? What does it mean to have an elevated IQ? What should we call it? Because there's a big, controversy out there, of course, with the term gifted. It's not always a gift. And it's not always well received by other people who do not have those gifts, right? Who do not possess those gifts. And it's not that people aren't good at something. Everybody's good at something. But if you're in the gifted movement like I am, it's a thing. It's a neurodiversity. It's an experience that not everyone has. So kind of like the bell curve, So that's what we're going to talk about on this new part of my channel. It's just a neurodiversity, like any neurodiversity, although it's unique in its own way. So the bell curve, right? If you've gone to Psych 100, maybe you haven't. Most people are average, dead in the middle. They're 100. Their IQs are 100. That's perfectly normal and perfectly awesome, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's what most people's are. The majority of the population, probably 85% of the population, is in that narrow band between maybe 85 to 115. That's most people. But then we have people who are less than 85, and those people would be considered now intellectually disabled. In the past, the term mental retardation was used, but it's not considered kosher anymore, so people don't use it anymore. But that's the point. And then after, above 115, they're not really considered gifted at 115, but they're considered maybe something called bright normal, and then of course there's a lot of conversations about where should we put the peg for giftedness. Mensa, for example, they put theirs at 130. There are people who are definitely much, much more than that, people at 160, people at 180, people at 200. Those are very rare though. And so that's kind of what we're talking about, the bell curve. So, and this is about people who are on the right side of the bell curve, the right side and the right side. That's a joke. That's a gifted joke. Maybe you might get that. But literally on the right side of the bell curve, for whatever reason. So that's what this conversation is going to be about. I'm hoping to have guest speakers. I'm hoping to have people that will come on my channel and just talk about giftedness with me so we can take maybe some of the stigma out of it. And you might ask yourself, what stigma would there be? There's plenty of stigma. Gifted people are often injured, hurt, embarrassed. They are treated badly, they are belittled, and it's not kind, and it's not okay. Right? We're people. We deserve to have the same rights and responsibilities that everybody has, and that's not what we get a lot of the time. So I hope that this channel dispels some myths about gifted people. I hope it talks about our loves, our lives, our hopes, our dreams, our journeys, because the gifted journey is not an easy one. If you had it yourself, you probably wouldn't want it. But the key thing here is that we don't have a choice. You're born into it. So that's number one myth that I will dispel. You can't make somebody gifted, and you can't really take it away either unless some seriously bad thing happens, like they get a brain tumor or, brain damage or something. But even then, it's still a gifted brain. It comes that way. It comes out of the box that way. And so that's the big point that I think I would like to mention, and I think a lot of gifted people would want you to know. So we're going to do a lot of different conversations about, like, what do gifted people want you to know? Or what is it like to have giftedness and trauma at the same time? It's not fun. I wouldn't recommend it. What does a gifted relationship look like when both people are gifted? What does it look like when only one person is? What does it look like when you're the only gifted person in your family, like my experience? What does it look like as an everyday experience? Because we're gifted in every way. We're gifted when we eat. We're gifted when we sleep. We're gifted when we go to the doctors. We're gifted when we go to the hospital. We're gifted when we go to our children's school. We're always gifted. And some people act like you can somehow turn it off. I have a friend, Jeff, shout out. He's got a channel. And he talks about people think that somehow we have a lower setting. A lot of gifted people are very intense. We're not intense because we like being intense. We're intense because that's where we're set. And if you think of it as a thermostat, that's where we're set. We don't have a choice about where we're set. So we can't be less for people. Although plenty of people would ask us, how about I ask you to be more? Come on, be more. You might say, well, how do I do that? Well, how do gifted people do that either? Right? So that's the question. Like, a lot of us are very talkative. I'm very talkative. So we grow up hearing shut up all the time. It still is a trauma trigger for me. Because I am born that way, and a lot of us are born that way. Gifted people, we can talk. Get us all together. We can talk for plenty of times. We have these wonderful epic chats that can go 3 to 4 hours. And we love it. We enjoy it. We feel inspired by that. Another of my wonderful gifted friends says that he feels good after we've chatted. He feels great. He feels alive and aware and excited. And so do I. You finally feel like you're home. You finally feel like there are people who know what you're saying and you don't have to explain it. It's a wonderful experience to be a part of that a gifted person doesn't always get. So we're going to talk about how can we get that more? How can we put out a wonderful beacon for people to come and say, hey, maybe I am too. Maybe I can be in this wonderful and exclusive club of giftedness. And I don't think we should be afraid of exclusivity because everybody is good at something that somebody else isn't good at, right? And it doesn't matter if you don't care about it. Like, I'm not great at fixing cars, but there are people whose whole livelihoods are fixing cars. Good for you. I love that about you. There are gifted people who like to fix cars too, but I'm not into it. But I'm into Shakespeare, I'm into poetry, I'm into comedy, I'm very funny usually. I'm into being a wordsmith and to writing, and these things, they mean a lot to me. So we're going to talk all about giftedness. I hope you'll join us, me and my potential guests, and just add to the ethos of the gifted conversation here on YouTube and on the planet. Welcome to my channel.